Oh, there's also speculation on a final boss, Taliesin and Evitel. Let's see that one. Let's see that one. It might be quick. Yeah, it might be. We'll see. I mean, a lot of this is what's it called? Hot fixes and shit. So let's see. Let's see.
Sponsored by Audible.
Let's see what we can watch.
Hello, Internet. Taliesin here, and today we are talking Dragonflight and why it's bad. Oh, no, hang on, that doesn't sound right. Oh, no, I meant the big bad, because there are two types of WoW
who's the final boss?
Those where the main antagonist and eventual final boss of the whole thing is front and center and known from the very start, and those where we, as players, are kind of kept guessing as to who the epic climactic encounter of the story will be against, often up until the last patch. And Dragonflight,
I'm not sure what I prefer.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, seeing the Lich King on the front cover and knowing we were going to kill him at the end is badass. But not knowing the boss is kind of cool, too.
Category. Because we don't know. We have no idea. Although Ian Hazacostas has said in a recent interview with Mr. GM that...
Will we know
Mr.
the final
GM.
boss by the end of the Dragonflight 10.0 story, or is it still going to be...
I think by the end of 10.0, I think you'll have a very good sense.
Nice.
Yeah.
Meaning that we have an entire patch to have fun speculating who that big bad might be. And with the
not
alpha now
Galacron.
into
I
its
don't
middle
think it's
phases,
Galacron.
we've seen enough of this game and setting and characters to have
We will see
plenty
him, but
of
I don't think he's the
ideas.
final
So
boss.
join us as we rate the candidates who might just be the final boss of
Let's see.
World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Okay, go 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 go. Galacron in the frozen
I knew he was gonna
wastes
say
of
that. I don't
Northrend,
think it
within
is.
the great dragon burial ground known as Dragonblight lies the remains of the largest known dragon
Belula already
ever
said it.
to
It's
live,
his child.
Galacron. Once only known as the father of dragons, it was
Right.
for many years
All
believed that the
dragons are supposed
Titans
to be his
used
children.
Galacron to create the dragon aspects. However, all of this changed with the Richard Knack novel Dawn of the Aspects, where
Right.
established lore was retconned. I blame Steve Denusa. And we finally learned the truth. Dragon history time, fam. Long ago, when the world was still
If you watch the Bellular video instead, you'd know why.
new and all dragons were still barely evolved proto-drakes, one
I do know they brought in a character from Hearthstone, and that character's goal in Hearthstone was to bring Galacron back. But I just feel like they're going to pull a 180 on us, and it's not going to be Galacron. I could be wrong. I definitely think we're going to see him. I just don't know if he's the end boss of the
began to
expansion.
grow larger than all of the others, Galacron. At first, everyone assumed this was because Galacron was a
Dave's
total
voting.
dragon chad, but it soon became clear
He is a
his
dragon
growth
chad.
spurt was down to him eating his fellow proto-drakes, consuming their life essence before throwing them up again. And it was this cannibalization that seemed to make him grow so much in size. If that wasn't enough, the proto-drakes that Galacron vomited up seemed to be infected with
Galacron basically is a Deathwing is the size of his toenail.
some version of a plague of undeath. They became mindless zombies whose bite could infect healthy proto-drakes, spreading the same undeath to them. And the more Galacron ate,
Dragon Kyle.
the more he grew, but also the more he transformed.
Wait, what if he's actually, he just wants to see everyone's manager? What if he's not Dragon Chad?
He became mutated in horrible ways.
He's Dragon
with extra
Karen.
limbs, wings, and even eyes growing all across his body. Realizing that something had to be done about the giant drake-eating, undead drake-vomiting super mutant mega monster, who also, by the way, bit off Titan Keeper
Probably something
Tyr's
like Gruul or
hand,
something?
5
I don't
proto-drakes
know.
who were brave and strong and best friends in the whole world
Captain
teamed up to take
Planet.
down Galacron in an epic confrontation in what would later be known as Dragonblight, winning the day with their super genius plan of stuffing a massive rock in his mouth. The tenacity of these 5 proto-drakes so impressed Tyr that he convinced the other keepers they should be granted powers and made into
dragon
guardians
aspects.
of Azeroth. And lo, Alex Straza, Nozdormu, Ysera, Ysera, Malagos, and Neltharion, not even a little bit, became the dragon aspects. And
Yes.
the rest is history. I mean, all the previous stuff was history as well, but you get it. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Taliesin, I feel like the chances of Galacron being the final boss of Dragonflight are probably quite slim, considering that he's been dead for over 10,000 years, and honestly, that's
Enter
a good
Hearthstone
point.
guy.
For him to be any kind of threat at
telling
all,
you, that's
then
what he's
we'd
gonna
really
say.
need someone to resurrect him, right? Well, and Redbot spoilerbot for this bit, okay, but someone quite important has appeared on the Dragonflight Alpha.
He's from
Rafam.
Hearthstone.
Now, if you've
Yep.
never heard of him before,
He's
that's
from
because
Hearthstone.
up until now, Rafam has only only ever appeared in Hearthstone, where he is the main antagonist of the League of Explorers expansion. Yeah, I know, right? League of Explorers.
His goal
like
is to bring back
Explorers League, one of
Galacron.
the two groups who will take us into Dragonflight. Anyway, Rafam has been
Alex
found
Straza.
in Dragonflight, making this his first official World of Warcraft appearance. And the most interesting thing about this, apart from the fact that as a villain, Rafam is pretty great all on his own, is that the one thing Rafam is best known for in Hearthstone is resurrecting Galacron in the Year of the Dragon expansion. So yeah, there's that. Then there's that clue that I am obsessed with from the Dragonflight cinematic trailer. When Stony Tony wakes up on the waking shore, the musical cue that accompanies the action is the instantly recognizable opening
sound like
motif
Dragonblight.
from Dragonblight, where
That's true.
Galacron's skeleton
That's true.
is. Like waking up and Dragonblight. Come on, Sheeple, open your eyes, it's obvious. And then there's this text box from Scale Commander Emberthal on the alpha, which is one of those ones that lets us watch past cinematics in-game. And one of the cinematics listed is Dawn of the Aspects, a cinematic that doesn't
Makes
currently
sense.
exist, which suggests it's either going to be a Dragonflight in-game thing, or my guess, a pre-expansion
What if he's the second to
animation
last
like
boss?
Warbringers, showing
What
us
if he's
the
the
story
second
of the
to last
Planeteer's
boss?
fight against Galacron and subsequent empowering by the Keepers.
I never
And
said Galacron's not coming back. I'm just not sure if he's going to be the last boss.
why would they especially want
just
to
not sure,
remind
Dave.
us of what happened with Galacron, I wonder? Then there's the Primalists, a faction of proto-dragons who chose to reject everything that the aspects stand for and embrace their elemental
Like, what if he's
powers
the
instead,
the
who
middle
are the
raid?
main antagonists
Say
of
we get 3 raids or 4
Dragonflight's
raids.
first
What if he's
raid
the
and are
third?
thoroughly aligned with Galacron? So it's a fair bet they'd like to see him resurrected too, you know? And don't forget, Ian did say we would have a fair idea of who the final boss of the expansion was at the end of 10.0, as in at the
I'ma
end
clip it and
of
post
the
in the
first raid, which is
Deal.
against the Primalists, who would quite like to resurrect Galacron. Basically, there is some very compelling evidence to suggest that Galacron will be the big bad, and I rate his chances at 219 weird mutant dragon eyes out of Dragon Chad. If I had to put money on it right now, I would put all of the money on Cannibal Boy, and honestly, I predict Galacron will be the final boss. But, you know what? There are some other very compelling candidates.
Let's see.
Like
What are the other choices?
Chromatus. What is there not to love about Chromatus? 5 heads, each
What
one
the
representing a different Dragonflight. So powerful, it took the Dragon Aspect's powers combined to defeat him. Sounds familiar. And creepy enough to make even a dragon's scales crawl. Chromatus is
Could be a
villain
raid
that
boss. I
can't
don't think
help
he'll
but
be the
capture
last.
the imagination. And up until now, that's pretty much where he's had
I
to
see.
stay.
I see. But let me see the
the
other choices. Let me see the other choices.
Game. A main antagonist from the Christie Golden novel Thrall, Twilight of the Aspects, Chromatus is the first successful chromatic dragon. Just like the Drakthir we'll soon all be playing as, these dragons are the result of an experiment conducted by the Black Dragonflight.
That's insane. That's a
In
crazy
this case,
picture.
by Deathwing's son, Nefarian, who attempted to combine the captured whelps of several flights into single chromatic dragons who would be able to wield
In
the
a ninja
powers of
blender.
all the dragons they were made from. Someone probably should have told him about the Drakthir. Most experiments were unable to survive until adulthood, a problem that was solved by Archbishop Benedictus, leader of the Twilight's Hammer cult, when he bypassed
Servers
the
are
whole
still
growing up
down.
thing and just used an enormous amount of magic to breathe life into an already adult Chromatus. Like most things Twilight
battle
cult related,
Chromatus in the first
Chromatus' entire
patch.
purpose was to bring about the
Maybe.
Hour of Twilight, a time when the old gods would be freed from their prisons and
That's
end
Tiamat from
all
D&D. I
life
don't even
in
know who that
Azeroth.
is.
A plan that may sound a little over the top homicidal to you or I, but as old god related plans go, pretty standard. The 4 remaining aspects decided to attack, but Chromatus is portrayed as incredibly powerful, and he just about
does look
wipes
like a
the
badass.
floor
I
with
kinda
them.
would like to see him
Ultimately,
in
the
game.
aspects realize they cannot win until they combine all 5 aspect powers, which they can't really do because Deathwing is, trying to kill them all. Thankfully, Thrall is a super elite Jesus shaman, and he steps
True.
in with the powers of Earth. Chromatus is defeated, and he is very specifically not killed. His body turns out to be indestructible. Seriously, what is not to love about this guy? So they put him in an arcane
She's an
prison
even
instead,
goddess of
with
dragons.
the words to play a role in the plot later. written
Alex
on the
Straza
door.
was
And
always
that is
hot,
where
I
his
agree.
story seems to end. However, there are just the smallest hints that he was initially meant to appear as a boss in the Cataclysm raid Dragon Soul, instead being replaced by the single-headed dragon boss Ultraxion. Not only are the Twilight's Hammer cult present in this raid, but
Probably too
Ultraxion
hard
is
to develop
found
to make
trapped
an
in an
NPC.
arcane prison, just like Chromatus would be, and drops the chromatic dragon mount Experiment 12B. So there is plenty of speculation
True.
that Blizz meant this dragon to be Chromatus, but in the end wimped out of designing and animating a
Yeah.
5-headed boss fight.
Right,
so
that would've been
maybe
harder.
Dragonflight will be the expansion to make that old Cataclysm dream a reality.
Maybe.
Overall, I expect 5-head might not quite be end of entire expansion boss
What kind of
material,
art
and
is
would
that?
rate his chances of 3 heads
like a
out of Chromatus.
1990
However, I do think it is basically
boss rendering.
100% certain that at some point during Dragonflight, we will end up fighting this very, 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 very good boy, Marazzond. Around the time of the Cataclysm,
Marazzond,
Nozdormu,
I
the Bronze
thought,
Dragon aspect, came
originally,
across
and you can
some
check
rather
my videos
upsetting
back on my
information.
YouTube channel a while back. I thought Marazzond was going to be the final boss.
In an attempt to learn more about the infinite Dragonflight, a flight devoted to destroying the very timelines the Bronze Dragonflight is tasked with preserving, Nozdormu discovered that Marazzond, the infinite Dragonflight's leader, was none other than a future, twisted version of Nozdormu himself. And that the infinite Dragonflight itself was made up
Did you guys
of
clear the
former
raid?
bronze dragons.
We were on Sire Denathrius and the surface
Working
went down.
against everything the Bronze
Seeing if they'll come back up soon.
stands for. This realization upset Nozdormu so much that for a while he was trapped in the timelines and had to be rescued by Thrall. In what tends to be a theme with the dragon
Jesus,
aspect,
Thrall.
Marazzond was, or will be, it's all very timey-wimey, tricked by the old gods into helping them shatter the time ways and bring
Right.
about the Hour of Twilight. Now technically, we have already faced and killed Marazzond in the End of Time dungeon
True.
from Cataclysm. However, we still haven't seen Nozdormu turn into Marazzond. And not because we have somehow changed the future or anything, because Steve Danusa confirmed in an interview with
Second
the
raid
For
will kill
Azeroth
Rifana.
podcast, that's still
His
definitely
shade summons
coming.
Galacron.
Dragonflight seems like the ideal opportunity
Maybe.
to see all of that play out. And red spoiler bot for this next bit, but the alpha
I'm
has
being convinced,
already
Dave, slightly.
confirmed Marazzond and the Infinite Dragonflight are back. In fact, they are the main subject of the revamped dungeon, Alderman, Legacy of Tyr. In this dungeon,
Right, we already
encounter
know,
the
yeah.
Infinite Dragon
They're coming back.
Chrono Lord Deos, who has invaded the dungeon in
So
order to
Marazzond's
destroy
gonna
a
make an
special
appearance.
Titan disc, specifically because he believes this disc holds the secrets to the aspects regaining their power. Deos both succeeds and escapes, but not before leaving us with these intriguing final words.
What are
the
they?
timelines are converging. There will be only one aspect, and Marazzond shall be infinite. And yet
Oh,
another
shit.
clear indication
Look
that
at
the
that.
Infinite Dragonflight are back
Look
to
at that.
being major antagonists in Dragonflight is something that's currently known only as Grand Adventure Time. And while we don't know exactly what this is, several maps are associated with it, suggesting some
Nyalotha?
sort of scenario-based activity like islands or warfronts, or
Pandaria. Yeah, we must
possibly
be
even the newest
teleporting
evolution of Torghast.
between them.
These maps seem to depict important moments in history, suggesting
Oh,
a
shit.
Caverns of Time-style romp through the timelines,
I would love
as well
this
as a
done.
future
That'd be so cool.
named the Primalist Tomorrow, where the
Oh,
Primalists
shit.
have already won, and one other fascinating little map named
looks
as
badass.
Murloth, an alternative timeline version of Dragonblight where Murlocs clearly reign supreme. Basically,
Is that
it's
for-
all kind of messed up,
that
and
for
whether
real?
Marazzond and the Infinite Dragonflight turn out to be the final boss or not, it is certain we are going to see a fair amount of focus and perhaps resolution on this story thread. So I rate them an
I'd like to see
inevitable awesome
Marazzond.
tattoo out of Infinite.
Not sure he's going to be the
fam,
final boss,
I
but
heard
I'd like
you
to see him.
Dragons. You do like dragons, don't you? Anyway, we are delighted to be working with Audible, who are sponsoring
Still trying to
today's
check the
video.
servers
okay,
are
so
still
I
not
know
up.
in the last Audible spot, I told you that there are well over 4,000 results for dragons in the Audible catalog.
I
which
used
is
Audible to,
incredible. But
listen
Evie,
to,
you cry. 4,000 plus
what's it
results
called?
for dragons. Where could I possibly
The
begin?
BFA
Tell
book.
me what to do, Evie. Okay,
Murloc
I will.
final
If
boss
you want
confirmed,
to
yes.
experience some of my
Exactly.
favorite depictions of dragons in any media, you can't go wrong with Ursula Le Guin. I mean, look at her. If there ever was an extremely ancient, all-powerful dragon and little old lady visage
I want a
form,
Murloc
it's
final
her.
boss,
And
yeah.
lucky
We're
for
gonna
you,
get one.
you can listen to the entirety of her magnum opus,
Dragonlock.
Earthsea Cycle, all on Audible. Follow
Or
the journey
Murloc
of Jed,
Agate.
the greatest wizard of Earthsea, as he masters the words of power, ventures into the land of death, and yes, meets some hecking awesome dragons along the way. If you ever watch Taliesin
Wonderful
stream, then you know this is legit his favorite series of all time. If you watch our Patreon
You don't listen to my
Q&As,
obvious
then you
jokes.
know Le Guin is one of my favorite authors of all time. Honestly,
No,
if you
it's
only
definitely
ever take
confirmed.
one
Murloc,
thing from
final
Teeny,
boss
make it
of
this.
Dragonflight.
Listen to Earthsea on Audible. Audible also comes with tons of member benefits you might not know about, including 1 free credit for their premium collection every
Murloc
month and
Straza.
unlimited
There you go.
access to their new Plus
Hey, we got one with the
catalog.
pre-order,
if you want
right?
to venture beyond Earthsea,
Maybe it's a
there's
hint.
always new stuff being added to the catalog,
Just
so
saying.
you'll never run out of interesting
Maybe
things
it's
to
a
listen
hint.
to. Not just audiobooks, but podcasts,
Murloc
original
Rond,
series,
yes.
and other juicy
There you
content
go.
about dragons. Not all of it, but lots. Ready for some serious dragon content? You can try Audible free for 30 days. Just visit audible.com/Taliesin Evitel
Wonderful.
or text
What a great
Taliesin
ad.
Evitel to 500 500. It's free. There are dragons. Check it all out at audible.com/Taliesin Evitel or text
No,
Taliesin
Murloc
Evitel
Straza,
to
okay.
500 500.
Hey.
Yashiraj. Hey, you remember
Yashiraj.
BFA, where in hindsight, a lot of
Old
the
gods
groundwork
again?
for this expansion was laid out? What with us reaching out to the different Dragonflights for help in the Chamber of the Heart, just to remind us who they all were, just in case that might be important later, where we met Ysera's
sexy,
daughter in
Straza,
charge
man.
of the Green Dragonflight now. Just
Deathwing
in
size
case that
Murloc,
might be
yes.
information that would crop up a little bit in the future, who knows? Well, here is one of my favorite quests from the old Island Expedition rewards, the one that begun with a wriggling mass.
When you pick up the wriggling mass, it gives you a vision. In your mind's eye, you picture a many-eyed goat laying in a pool of black water. As you approach,
Oh
its
God, that's
eyes
creepy.
burst open, and in an instant, you find yourself looking upward at the goat from deep within the puddle. As you sink into the icy darkness,
What the fuck?
everything goes black. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking,
was a
Taliesin,
thing?
that sounds an awful lot like that quote from the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, which you've talked about before, because you bloody love the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, and you're right, and I do. That quote goes, "Have you had the dream again? A black goat with 7 eyes that watches from the outside."
What the hell?
7 eyes,
Some
like
demonic
the
shit.
7 heads of Yashiraj, which is why most people think that the goat
7
from the
heads,
puzzle box
maybe.
refers to him. And in this new dream, the goat awakens as you draw near.
So here's the thing, 2 of the candidates we've looked at already in this video, Chromatus and Marazzond, obviously shared one goal, to bring about the Hour of Twilight,
They're
where
old
all
god
life
shit,
will be
corrupted
destroyed, the
shit.
dragon aspects will be vanquished, and the old gods will
But are we really going to go old gods again? It kind of does make me think that Day is wrong and that Galacron is going to be the final boss. I don't think Day is right. I think Galacron's going to be the final boss because I don't know if we're bringing old god shit back just yet. I'm not sure. And we know Deathwing was old god corrupted. We know all these others were old god corrupted. But I'm starting to think Day is wrong and Galacron's going to be the final boss. I'm going to call it right here.
Azeroth. But how can that future be
'Cause
at all
Galacron's not
possible
really
if
old
the
god
old
corrupted?
gods have already been defeated, unless there is a way back, a way for the old gods to return once again, more powerful than before. You're going to think this is
What's
wild
up, God?
speculation, but bear with me.
I said
What if
Galacron
we
was gonna be
are
the
about
final
to
boss?
draw
No, Day, I don't
near
think
the
so. I think-
goat? Here's what we know about the first and
don't
most
think you said that.
powerful old god, Yashiraj. Yashiraj was the most powerful and wicked.
It's going
of the
good,
old
Dode.
gods. I guess you could say
We got
he was
disconnected
quite
on Sire
literally the
Denathrius.
goat. When the Titan Armenthul decided to kill the
Server
old god
resets.
himself, it sent shockwaves through Azeroth, nearly destroying
I'm
the
back.
world,
Stop
which
by
is
my-
why the Titans never
Stop by my
attempted
room
it
from
again.
flooding. Oh, shit.
Yashiraj's body was ripped apart, and the remnants of his corpse scattered
It's gonna be
across
deep
the
and hard,
southern
yes.
world, where the Titan Keeper Ra discovered them later. The largest of these parts was
Or they're gonna
Yashiraj's
tease Void Lords
heart,
when he
which
dies,
Ra
same as the
encased in a
maybe.
subterranean vault in Pandaria, only to be
Same as the Jailer is not anything I want to hear about the Dragonflight expansion. I'm just going to say that right now.
excavated by Garrosh Hellscream many hundreds of years later. And this has me wondering.
They better
do
not
we
do
know the
old gods
full
again, not
story
yet.
Here? When the existence of Pandaria
Yeah, I
was
think it's too
hinted at
soon as
during
well.
the short story Charge of the Aspects, the line was
You're gaslighting me, I
somewhere in the
can't.
Great Sea was a mysterious island shrouded in mists. Of course, now you think that the island that passage refers to is Pandaria, but at the time, all the speculation was that the mysterious island
True.
would be the Dragon Isles,
Yes,
which
true.
we now know
True.
has also been shrouded in mists until very recently.
True.
But what if that isn't where the similarities between the Dragon Isles and Pandaria end? Don't forget, the Dragon Isles that we see in Dragonflight are very different to the original concept, which was intended to be included in
Yeah.
Vanilla WoW, and was
They're
in
supposed
fact
to have old
partially
god shit
built.
going
The
on.
whole point of the Dragon Isles was always that it was chock full of old god temples,
This is
like
true.
R'lyeh in
This is
Lovecraft
true.
mythos. Obviously, in our shiny new 2022 expansion, there are no temples to be found, just Tuskar and centaurs and gnolls and tons of beautifully colored dragons. Any old gods here? Nope, no old gods here. However,
old gods to
in
be
the
seen.
alpha files, there is a data entry with a dev note on it that says, warning, must be kept flagged development
Yeah,
map
that didn't go
until
well.
10.1, suggesting that
that didn't
this
go well.
is going to be a location in the first major patch of Dragonflight, and that map is called Dragon Isle Underground. So what we have here is the knowledge
Old
that the Dragon
gods,
Isles was
maybe?
originally intended to be a location of many ancient old god temples, that it may very well still be the location of many ancient
just
old god
underground.
temples, and that there is apparently a lot of stuff going on under the Isles that we currently don't know about. What if another part of Yasharaj, a part even more powerful than his heart,
penis.
whatever that would be,
His penis. It has to be Yasharaz's penis. That's it. Confirmed right here, right now. Yasharaz's penis is under the Dragon
is
Isles.
buried beneath the Dragon Isles. And what if that is where we draw near now? A Yasharaj, or just general old god twist to the expansion, would also allow the Twilight Dragonflight to
Raid
return, which would
confirmed,
make
yeah.
sense since
Yasharaz's
they were
penis.
everywhere in
Final
BFA
raid.
too. I may be biased because I love those tentacly old god overlords. I would rate Yasharaj as a not unlikely at all many eyes out of slightly more than that eyes wild card. Okay, so far in this video we have given you very solid and likely
I have to say,
candidates, in my opinion,
of all
for
these,
the final boss
despite
of the
what Day
expansion.
said,
But I
I'm-
think
I'm
it's
most convinced
time
of
for a
Galacron.
wild card choice to finish off, and I thought long and hard about who this wild card choice would be. First, I thought about Tyrallion, who, with Alleria, is depicted in
fucking
the
insane.
Shadows
Tyrallion's
Rising
insane.
novel as going full-on sketchy torture mode
By
in
the
their hunt
light,
for
that
Sylvanas,
man
with
has lost
Jaina
his
being
shit.
unsettled by the lengths to which the pair are willing to go, and thinking of him, oh great lion, your heart is becoming steel. Tyrallion really has come to represent a harsher side of the Alliance,
Yeah.
one who is willing to do whatever it takes in the name of a cause, and oh yeah, who just happens to be sitting on the Stormwind throne in Anduin's
is.
absence,
That is
which is
true.
why the lines he has with Shaw at the beginning of Dragonflight might be worth a raised eyebrow or two, as he clearly does not trust the dragons and puts them under intense surveillance. The latest seeds in a baddie plotline? Maybe. But in the end, I decided
be.
that my wildcard choice would be Odin, who, apart from being an
Odin.
absolute dick who everyone would like to take down, has some serious history with the dragons. As we mentioned before, when the
fuck?
Planeteers defeated Galacron, the Titan
Yeah.
Keepers decided that they should be granted special powers so that
Right.
they could continue to serve as Azeroth's guardians. What we didn't mention, though, is that not all Titan Keepers agreed with the formation of the dragon aspects.
Okay.
Odin was dead set against the idea,
Oh,
seeing
he
the
didn't like that
proto-dragons
shit.
as far too primitive for such an important task. In fact, this disagreement directly inspired his idea to collect the souls of Raikou warriors in the first place. His intention
Oh,
was to
shit.
create an elite army that would be far better defenders of Azeroth than any old plebby dragon aspects ever could be. And if the
Oh,
dragon
shit.
aspects seek to regain their powers in Dragonflight, it's probably a fair bet that Odin still doesn't really like the idea. What's more,
Yeah, he's
Helya,
probably a
who,
dungeon
for all her
boss.
faults, did happen to spend a lot of her time keeping Odin's power in check, has recently been banished by the Primus. So while I'm not saying Odin will unleash an elite Vrykul army that he's been building for hundreds of years on everyone he blames for defying him when they created the dragon aspects against his wishes, you know, because he's shown
Right.
himself to be evil and
Odin's a
petty when
bitch.
he feels like his will has been defied, I'm
I ain't
just
worried
saying
about him.
he probably could if he wanted to, because he's an absolute dick that everyone would like to take down. I'm going to rate Odin 2 absolute dicks out of Helya, and there we have it. Our candidates for the final boss of Dragonflight. But what do you think of our choices? Are there any obvious ones that we've missed out? Has a new alpha build been released
Nah, I
which
think
changes
these are the
everything
main-
we
the
thought we
main
knew and
culprit-
renders this
the
entire
main
video
culprits
totally
here.
useless? It wouldn't surprise me. Let us know in the comments below. If you like this video, don't thank us. Thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our work happen. And also special thanks to our friend and Wowhead contributor, Discordian Kitty, who did a ton of
Discordian
research
Kitty.
and writing on the script for this one too. We
Good
could
stuff.
not have made this video without her. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Discordian Kitty. Oh no, that's not going to work, is it? Fine. My name is Taliesin from me and Evitel and Anirin and Penny too.
Great.
Until next time, cheerio.
Yes, cheerio.